Hello and welcome to my not live video. I am recording this video specifically for the group I created called Kundalini Awakening for the Modern World. I wanted to, well, if you're watching this from this group, first of all, I want to say thank you and thank you for being part of this group, even though it hasn't really had much traction and it doesn't have too much of a trajectory, but thank you anyways for being here for what it's worth. I appreciate you. And I have an overwhelming feeling to share what I'm going through, and in hopes that it will help or illuminate certain aspects of life and of this reality for other people. So a Kundalini awakening, there's lots about it on the internet. And usually you hear about like an instant Kundalini awakening. That is where the energy through you, all your chakras align and your third eye pops open and you can sort of see the totality of reality. Okay, so what is the third eye? This is an energy point located in our mind, has to do with the pineal gland, and it has to do with our ultimate knowing, with our intuition. And I believe it is the doorway to our soul. And so when you access and when you open your third eye, you're accessing your soul. So you're bringing out a bunch of information that wasn't available to you before, information about past lives, information, things in your shadows, things you've been hiding from yourself, the actual construct of reality as it is, you begin to see it a little differently. So, okay, so that's just a little bit about the third eye. So a Kundalini awakening happens instantly. I practice Kundalini yoga. I am trained in teaching Kundalini yoga. I can't say that I have had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, but I have had an awakening, and it's taken me through the ringer. Absolutely through the ringer. And I did not know how fucking awful and hard it was until I came out the other side, until I could look back in retrospect. So I'm gonna explain what I am experiencing, which I would like to call a progressive spiritual awakening. So progressive, happening slowly in steps. So I've sort of outlined 5 steps that what I feel I went through, and maybe it's something you're going through, or maybe somebody else has gone through it. So the first step is you start to accept all that is. The second step is you begin to consciously create life. Third step, life begins to reorganize itself. Fourth step, enter Shadowlands. This is where you do the shadow work. Fifth step, enlightenment. I feel like I've gone through all 5, but then I feel like I'm still ping-ponging back kind of through 2, 3, 4, and 5. So consciously creating life reorganizing, then there's more shadow work to do based on that organization, and then I'm enlightened. Anyways, so I remember a bit before 2020, I remember saying to myself, I'm exactly where I need to be in life. Everything that's happened has happened for a reason. I am who I am because of these experiences. And I was not a spiritual person at this time, but I found myself saying this, and it was comforting. And then I'll just quickly go through my story. Then I did my first sort of consciously trying to create life. So I'd seen all these things on the internet, manifestation, all these, law of attraction, as long as you just think it, it will happen. So I did my first, I was not in a good place financially. So I did my first like money manifestation. I want more money. I want money will make life easier. And then you had to pick a symbol of what you were going to see when this started happening. So I picked repetitive ones. And it took a while, but then I started to see those ones. And it was interesting. Then I decided that I wanted to have a little market garden and make a little like side cash. I work a 9-to-5 job. And then I ended up getting a second job serving, which helped with the money flow indeed. And so this was like, okay, like, like you also have to act. You can't just like throw, I really want a red car and then sit back and do nothing. Like, even if you think really, really hard every day that you want a red car, you still have to act in the 3D world about getting that red car. I hope that makes sense. So then life begins to reorganize itself, right? So like getting the job, getting that, then the big life reorganization happens. So I think when you have a spontaneous awakening, you sort of drop in at this point, at the life reorganizing itself. So this is where the big changes happen. So either, you lose a job, you get a divorce, you realize the big structures in your life that you have created so far are no longer serving you, and you are no longer comfortable, and you have to change them. Your soul will not shut up. So life reorganizes itself. And for a bit, you make those changes, you get the new job, you get rid of the bad relationship, you maybe move, whatever, and you settle in and you think, I got this. Things are good. You have this like false sort of high of woohoo. And then the shadow work hits you like a ton of bricks. And this is where you'll hear lots of stuff about people projecting. This is where your soul doesn't allow that anymore. Your soul is like, no, girl, you've created your reality. The good, the bad, the ugly, the not like situations, all of it. Everything you are experiencing is your creation. No more this person did that to me. No more victim mentality. You gotta own it. You gotta own it all. And this is why you see pictures where people are in a spiritual awakening and they are like in the fetal position, because it's hard. You are tired. Some days you can't stand yourself. You keep the same things keep coming up and 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 coming up for you to face them. And they are so in your face, and you just can't pretend. You can't pretend they're not you. You can't pretend that you have nothing to do with it. It's all you, and you just have to move through it. It is absolutely exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. And but it's all part and parcel. You gotta go through it. You gotta face that. You gotta face yourself. You gotta dig up those shadows, and you've got to shine the light, and you've got to love yourself, all of yourself. There is no more hiding. So yeah, Shadowlands, great place to be. And I honestly didn't know how, like, I was so exhausted through summer. I lost who I didn't know what I liked to make for supper. I wasn't gardening. All these things that had made up who I was, who I thought I was, had dissolved. In Hermeticism, they have a phrase, it's solve et coagula. To dissolve all the pieces and to put back together. That is what shadow work does. It dissolves everything. And I had no clue who I was. And it was scary because I couldn't connect. I couldn't get my feet on the ground. Luckily, through all that, I had a very strict Kundalini practice, a very spiritual practice of meditation and connecting with my guides to keep me grounded, because I didn't know who I was. My soul was just like, it's all gotta go, and then we've got to put it back together. And it has started to slowly come back together. I'm starting to enjoy cooking again. I was starting to get connect with my garden again at the end of summer. But it all needed to come out. Everything, all the pieces had to come out, and I had to dissect each and every one of them and decide which ones were going to stay and which ones were going to go. That being said, I don't think it's a never-ending process, and I think there's always going to be that dirty laundry that we have to examine in ourselves. And I'm not done. So, 5th step, enlightenment. What does enlightenment feel? Am I enlightened? I feel a lot different than I used to. I see reality a lot different than I used to, and it feels much more true. We spend a lot of our time dealing with ourselves in the 3D world, ourselves on the outside, ourselves on the outside, ourselves on the outside. Enlightenment is yourself and yourself, and you're constantly like reflecting inward, reflecting inward, reflecting inward, reflecting inward. Realizing that everything we create on the outside is a reflection of our inside. So we just have to look within ourselves to reflect on the inside. I had a thought, and I hope this thought doesn't piss anyone off, but I'm coming to realize now that I turn more into my soul and more into my soul, that I am very spiritual, and I connect with different energies and different beings that other people, you don't hear about these things unless you're in specific spiritual circles. And I feel like telling people this is like the closest thing that I can relate it to is like what somebody who is homosexual must feel like coming out to their parents, because you're afraid people are going to judge you for who you are, and that they're not going to like you, and that they're gonna think you're wrong. And I feel that way. I feel that way about my spirituality. I feel like people won't like me, or they will think I'm wrong. And I think I've always felt this way, and it's been a big part of me that's been hidden. And I think that's maybe why my spiritual awakening has been such a kick in the teeth and such a drag through the dirt sort of experience as it has been, because I have been in denial for a very long time. I am a clairaudient. I hear things. The first time I remember hearing something was a voice told me that I was going to be one of those children without a mother. I was 15 and I was in the shower when this happened, and my mom passed away a few months after that. It was more like telling me that there was a group of kids at my high school and they didn't have a mother, and they had an energy signature around them that I could feel. I didn't know that that's what it was, but what this voice was telling me is that I was going to inherit that energy signature, and that was going to be part of who I was. So yeah, so I guess when that's your first, the first time that you use sort of a sense like that, when it is something so traumatic, that's probably why I've repressed it for so long. The other time was a voice told me that I was going to have a son that would bear my last name. No, that wasn't so bad. that was a better one. And that worked out wonderfully. I luckily took to motherhood very well, and I loved my little baby. I still love my big baby. But yeah, that one wasn't, as it could be for some people, being a single mother, et cetera, could be traumatic. I don't think that was trauma. I think the trauma came from the sudden death of my mom when I was 15. So anyways, okay, that got a little off track and very personal, but I guess that's why I'm here, because maybe if I can share my story, and if I can show my pain, and if I can heal, then you can too. Or that maybe somebody you know can too. Or that you can pass on some words that maybe something in here resonates with you. Like I know I've heard other people talk about situations, and just hearing them talk has helped me. And that's what it's all about. That's what is harsh as shadow work is. That's what it's about. It's about healing. It's about bringing all of that stuff up. So not just to laundry list it, but to love it, and to love something, and to show it love, to give it love, to give yourself love is to heal. And that is the most important thing that each and every one of us human beings can do right now, is to just raise our own consciousness and just go inward. And I'm going to talk a little bit woo-woo for a while, because the energies on this planet are changing, and it is on each and every one of us to go within and to raise our own consciousness and raise our own vibration. When we do that, when we heal on an individual level, we are going to heal the collective. And the new people and the new babies that come in, they won't have to deal with the same traumas and same garbage that we dealt with. Whatever we continue to put our awareness on will persist. So, I mean, I guess it's important to mourn those tragedies that have happened in the world, but if we could not look forward instead at a brighter future, if we were all putting our conscious awareness on trying to love and make things better in the world, we would get there a whole lot quicker. We're kind of stuck here like in the mud. And that's, that's true. That's true of this 3D dance reality, is we are stuck in the mud. It's hard. Pure consciousness, pure light is like clear water. Down here, we're like water mixed with a lot of dirt. So we're a lot of mud. It takes us a lot longer to create things, but it's happening. And I guess I'm just throwing my hat in the ring here to say, I want to be a catalyst. I want to be on that side that is looking for a brighter future, that sees humanity and sees each other, sees that we are souls experiencing things, and that we don't have to judge ourselves. We don't have to hate ourselves. Nothing good ever. We can't shame ourselves into being better. If we could do that, the whole world would be healed. Okay. So I guess this group is going to stay active. I'm going to keep posting in it. And I guess I wanted to just make this video to say, I'm ready to maybe start posting things that resonate higher with me, and that might be a little more, make you feel uncomfortable or be a little too woo-woo. And if it is, that's fine. If it's not for you, it's not for you. And then, I won't be sad. I will be sad if you leave, but you got to do what's right for you. Or, if you like this sort of spiritual enlightenment sort of stuff, then stick around. I'm just on this journey, and the teachers keep opening up for me. Different paths of learning keep coming into my life. So I just can't get enough. I just keep absorbing material, and it's all about like the soul and where the soul comes from, yogic philosophy and the Kabbalah and the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and all this like wonderful, wonderful knowledge again. And then none of it's dogmatic. You don't have to follow this. Listen to your own soul. That's all of this stuff is just all of this knowledge that I seem to be finding is just trying to give me different doorways into looking at my own soul, into really feeling into it. And I think what I found is that there's a lot of things you can think through, but working with the body and really moving your body, and that's why yoga is so important. So important. I actually don't understand how people can be spiritual and not have an intense movement practice. Your body is like the energy, everything. Like, oh, it's just so wonderful. It just feels so great. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I have the guts to post it. Okay. Much love, homies.